The following is a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. For more information, please visit our website at dallasgenealogy.org. So with that, I'm going to ask Sue to come up here and introduce Thomas MacEntee, and I'm going to get things switched around Zoom-wise so we can watch it.
Thanks. Good morning. Before introducing our speaker, I have a quick question for those of us in our in-person audience and on Zoom. Todd will be launching a poll for us. The question is, have you used artificial intelligence tools such as ChatGPT in your family history research? Raise your hand in the audience if you have done so. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, we got a handful of us and others that will be getting their feet wet for the first time. So let me tell you about Thomas MacEntee. He is a baby boomer with a love of punk rock music, but also art history, who somehow fell into the technology industry almost 40 years ago and then left his IT career to pursue his love of family history and genealogy. Technology and historical research are opposites, but tech people like Thomas are needed to guide today's genealogist through the maze of options so they can deploy the best apps and devices to break down research brick walls. Thomas MacEntee, author, educator, advocate, entrepreneur, and that genealogy guy who helps you accomplish your family history goals. Welcome, Thomas.
Great. Thank you so much. We're here for translating, transcribing, and summarizing documents using AI. I am Thomas MacEntee or MacEntee. I answer to both. Usually I'm in Chicago, where many are cold but few are frozen. But I just arrived in Palm Springs, California, in the Southern California desert yesterday. I'll be here for 2 months on vacation, but also working. Just a little bit more background. I'm in my 49th year of doing genealogy research. I started as a 14-year-old boy in January of 1977. You'll remember the miniseries Roots came on television. The book had been published in 1976. It was a great time for genealogy. It was also the American Bicentennial, and there was a big explosion of interest. I happened to be staying with my great-grandparents. They were born in New York in the 1890s, and they had amazing family stories and photographs, and that got me hooked as a kid. But injecting this type of technology, that's what I've been known for. I was all over social media 18 years ago when we started using it for queries and lookups, mostly on Facebook groups. And you are absolutely going to be amazed today by what this can do. I do want to let you know that the handout is substantial. I don't believe in a bullet point handout. I don't think that serves you, especially if you're going to honor me with up to an hour of your time today. You deserve a takeaway, actionable education. So you can use this handout later tonight, tomorrow, next week, or even a month from now. I do want you to understand, please don't post the PDF up to the internets or anything like that. There is one big exception if you'll pay attention. I'm a huge supporter of genealogy societies. I used to be a newsletter editor. I know what it's like to scramble for content for articles. So I have this handout in article format available for free. I also have 40 other articles that cover artificial intelligence, technology, research methodology. All you have to do is have your newsletter editor email me at highdefgen@gmail.com. I will display that email address again at the end, and I can provide them with these Microsoft Word all ready to go articles. So great, let's get started. I want to let you know this is an introductory webinar. It's not going to be over your head. That's not how I teach. I want you to be able to make an informed decision based on fair and balanced information as to whether you want to pursue the use of artificial intelligence to do some of these everyday tasks that we do as genealogists. Okay. So this is a great way, as Susan said, to get your feet wet to do that. So I have to say, I'm still astounded by the power of what AI can do in the area of translating, transcribing, summarizing documents. Recently, I translated the entire 1901 Tehran census from Farsi to English with no problem. I had a follower that wanted me to translate Japanese handwriting from the 1600s. No problem. And still, I've been using AI since June of 2023, and every day and every time that I use it, I'm just absolutely floored that what it can do. And so this is what I'm saying. Even handwritten baptismal records. I helped Jeff Rasmussen from Legacy Family Tree webinars break down a brick wall with AI. I have a death notice for a great uncle from 1924 that it was able to transcribe. So most of the AI platforms, and I'll be covering 4 of them today, they can do these jobs. So what is AI and how does it work? It's more than just a buzzword. It stands for artificial intelligence. And if I could put it in a nutshell definition, it represents computer-based systems that can mimic human intelligence. Yeah, sometimes human stupidity as well, but this is the goal. It performs human tasks. I want you to think about 40 years ago. Try and remember there were TV commercials put out by Ford Motor Company and General Motors showing off robotics on the assembly line that could go and pick up a part, put it on the car frame, and then pass it down to the next robot. That was very simple AI. That computer, that robot had one job to do. Today, we are talking really intense tasks, multi-level, going through billions of documents and photos quicker than the human mind can. But this is basically where it all started. Also, you should know that genealogy vendors have been using AI for the past 5 years, and you probably didn't even know it. The reason is they've been hesitant to call it AI because it has a negative connotation. People always think War of the Worlds, movies like Terminator 2, setting off nuclear missiles, or everything like that. What we're going to cover today, these 4 platforms are all free. They're all the top platforms preferred by genealogists. They all have guardrails on them. You're not going to blow anything up. And so that's what we'll cover. These are 2 features that do 2 terms that I want you to keep in mind: deep learning and generative AI. This is how it differs from those robots. Those robots were programmed to do one thing. They didn't learn as they went along. AI will learn. You will have to create a login for every platform, even though they're free. But they basically learn from what you request, from what you upload. And we'll talk about privacy settings if you don't want it to do that. And then the generative AI is it's the output, what it tells you, it's transcription or translation or anything like that. So deep learning mimics the way that we think, and it looks for patterns. Can you imagine transcribing handwriting? And we will see in a horrible letter from 1821 that I can barely read myself. And imagine that AI goes through billions of records looking for similar loops in cursive writing and does that faster than the human brain can. Generative AI, it's a hard one to say. Well, what it does is it can create new photos based on a request. It can transcribe audio from an MP4 file that you upload. And it can also generate new text. You can ask it for help on a genealogy record set. So it's all based what you provide. That's what we call a prompt. Okay. And then it uses a vast database of training data. Where does this training data come from? Well, the company may have outright purchased the information from, Reuters, LexisNexis, Reddit. It also will go out and scrape the internet for content. And then it relies upon the content that you upload, unless you have your privacy settings a certain way. So let's go over the 4 platforms. These are the ones that I recommend. These are in order of popularity. And again, they're all free, but they also have paid versions. Okay. So here we go. ChatGPT, this is the big muscle. This is the one you probably have heard about. Curiously enough, it's owned by a nonprofit. The nonprofit is called OpenAI. About 5 years ago, investors like Facebook and Google and Elon Musk, they all put in billions of dollars to develop this technology. And then they basically took it and added to it for their own company's version of AI. Okay, so it was more of a consortium. This is what it looks like. And the thing is, I want you to look and see. It's very simple. It's very approachable. Over here, I have things that I've worked on because I'm logged in. You can see I'm logged in with my ugly face right up here in the corner. My mother always said I had a face made for radio and a voice made for print. So there's your proof. And basically, it's asking you, what do you want to do? I could say, give me information on German immigration to Ellis Island in the 1890s. It doesn't have to be a question either. I mean, we're not playing Jeopardy here. And I'll show you different prompts. Okay. There are different versions here. I am paying for the pro version here. But the thing is, there's also 4.5. This costs about $20 a month right now. You don't have to use it, but I will show you if we need to, we can go to the paid version. What I want you to know is I recommend if you want to cycle on and cycle off with the paid version because you think it will the results are better, that's what you can do. What I do is save up like May and June. I'll be in Palm Springs for 2 months. I'm not going to use it a lot. So I'll probably drop down to just the free version. And then I save up all my transcription jobs and everything, and then cycle on for a month. You just have to make sure it doesn't auto renew. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Also, your requests, no programming language, no Boolean operators, plain English. All right. Let's go to this one, Claude. You probably have not heard of Claude. It's number 2 in popularity. Let's go ahead and look at Mr. Claude here. Let's see if it's going to cooperate. I'm using a new laptop, and you'll see that it's going to take some time here. Let's come back to, it's loading. Let's come back to Claude. Here's Copilot. Copilot is by Microsoft. Okay. Now, God bless Microsoft. I used to be a Microsoft trainer for many years, and I know how they operate. Whenever they have a new technology, they will inject it into all their existing technologies and apps. So right now, you have Copilot in Outlook, in Microsoft Office and 365, in Bing, the search engine, in Edge, the browser, and now they've just added it to Windows 11. I think Microsoft's motto should be you will be assimilated. Let me see why I'm not getting Mr. Claude here. I'm going to go out to there. Let's go to my settings and profile. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe, because I'm not logged in. There we go. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, click and send it. And I've got to go and do a few things here. Sorry about this. This is unanticipated, but it's a way of me getting my email here. So I'm going to go to Gmail. And I apologize for this. I should have checked this. And go ahead and let's see, where are we? We are up here. And again, I apologize for this. I just need to get my little email with my link to Claude. There we go. So that's two-factor authentication. And we will get here in a minute. Let me just close this and close this. Thank you. And close this. And we should have Claude. Still loading. Okay, they are slow today. Let's go back to Copilot, and I apologize. Let's look at Copilot. That's going to be a better experience. Of course it is. So here we go. So here's Copilot. Okay. And the thing is, I should sign in, and I will sign in. Don't you hate the world of sign-ins now? It's just, you have to stand on one foot and give blood and, all of that stuff for this to work. There we go. It doesn't matter. Yeah, there we go. So this is what Copilot looks like. All right, I'm signed in here. It's asking me the same thing over here. I type a message. They have a new feature called Think Deeper. In fact, it's the same thing. Let's go back to ChatGPT. They have a deep research. Okay, what I will tell you about these features is they take longer to respond to you. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do another load here. There's Claude. And so what they do is they will take more time. Also, let's talk about the free version of all of these. You are limited in how much you can do. You can't sit on free version of ChatGPT all night and expect it free forever. Their goal is to serve their subscribers. So you may get a message saying, oh, you have to come back in 24 hours to continue. Okay, so don't be surprised if you see that. But again, I can go ahead and put any message here and any prompt, and it will help me. The other thing is, here's Claude. This is what Claude looks like, just so you know that. I'm going to move my bars around. What can I help you today? Notice they're pushing their upgrade. I will warn you, Claude is the stingiest platform in terms of free time. And what also constitutes free time? How does it expire? Well, if you're uploading big documents to transcribe, if you're making complicated requests to process, if you're using the deep reasoning, those all contribute to that. So let's close Claude. Thank you, Claude. Goodbye, and close that. And then we have one last one. This is Gemini. Gemini is by Google. I'm surprised it's not more popular, to be honest, but let's give it a look. And we are logged in up here, and it is notice it's pushing its advanced mode. It's got Gemini Flash. It has deep research, just like all the others. Okay. The nice thing with deep research, if you were to ask it to write a guide on maybe Texas genealogy, it will give you footnotes on all the platforms. Okay. For today's purposes, we're going to stick mostly with ChatGPT. All right. Because I think it does the best job. You should know it has the largest database of knowledge. And that goes a long way in doing summarization, transcription, and translation. So let's proceed here. Also, I am one of the few genealogy speakers on artificial intelligence that shows you this in real time. I think that's the only way you can understand how amazing this is. If you actually ask it to do something in in real time, and you see it happen on the screen. So what if I have a document, let's say a 400-page family genealogy book that was published in 1898. I have one for the Crandall family. I descend from Elder Joseph Crandall in Rhode Island in the 1620s. No index. And I wanted to do a summary. Let's say I wanted to summarize by surname, summarize the migration routes and organized by generation, and dump it into an Excel spreadsheet. It can do this. Okay. So that's what we want with summarization. We want to pull out the information that's important to us. And I can download this book for free from Internet Archive. But a lot of times I'll do a summary to see, is it worth me going through the book? Is it going to benefit? Does it have my Austin surname, even though it says Crandall? All right. So here's one. I have a book called The Genealogy of David Putman and His Descendants. Let's go ahead and look at this ugly, ugly thing. And it is right here. It is a very bad scan that I got online. I will, open that. Thank you. And there it is. Yeah, it's 57 pages. It was published in 1916 by my sixth cousin, 5 times removed. And what I want to do is I want to do a summary. So this is the first step. You go and you have to upload your document. Now, what type of document is better? What format is better? Well, what you want to do is, let's see, AI transcription. There we go. Here it is. For books, PDF is the best. For images, JPEG. Let's say you have a one-page handwritten letter, JPEG. Don't do TIFF files, TIFF. This is the reason. They're very large in size, 10, 20, 30 megabytes. Remember, the larger the documents, the more you eat up your free access time. Okay, and I'm going to ask it this. I'm going to say, summarize this, summarize, new laptop, this 57-page book, genealogy book, and extract a list of surnames and list migration routes organized by generation. Now, let me warn you, well, not warn you, advice. Whenever you're using AI platforms, more information, the better. Contextual information, and that's all in your handout. Okay. And by the way, all the URLs that I'm covering today are in the handout on the last page. The thing is, it's not like Ancestry. Remember, we recommend to people on Ancestry to go broad and then narrow it down. This is the reverse. If I can provide, I can even say published in 1916. If I can give it as much context as possible, it has to work less. It uses less of my free time. Okay. And so here we go. We're going to go ahead. I'm not going to do deep research because that takes a lot of time. It will take 7 or 8 minutes, but it's going to go ahead and read the document. And what it will do is it will create this information. Okay. We've got a slow day today, and I know I'm on a super fast. There we go. Okay, it tells me who the author was. It gives me here, okay, key families, list of surnames. Look at this. Isn't this amazing? Okay. And then I'm going to come down here and migration routes by generation, simplified overview. This is great. Now, if I wanted more, also it will do a visual migration map and a timeline. Isn't that amazing? Now, if I wanted more information, I would have used deep research. And deep research would take a while to do. So what I can do is I can do this again. Watch. I will take now, what can you do with this information? Let's cover that first. This is great. I think this is phenomenal, right? I'm going to go to the bottom here. You'll see this symbol is copy. You can copy this text and use it. There's no copyright restriction. Okay. You can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I encourage you to give it feedback. If you knew that it was factually incorrect, you could give it bad response. You could say over here under more other, being lazy. Yes, that is an attribute. This happens with the free version. If it's a busy night at ChatGPT, it may quit halfway through, or it may hallucinate and make things up. And I'm not kidding. It doesn't happen that often. But I could go here to other and I could give it information. And that actually helps improve the knowledge base. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. We're going to start over. I'm going to say deep research. I'm going to upload my document. And where are you? There you go. And I'm going to let it go. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to come back over here to this one. Sorry. There we go. I thought I had copied the prompt. There we go. We want to copy this. All right. So now I'm going to go to a new one. We've uploaded our document. We have to do it again. I'm going to use deep research, and I'm going to have to let this run for a few minutes. Now, one thing you'll find with deep research is it will come back and ask you questions. So let's see what we got. It's uploading. I swear my connection's got to be better than this. There it is. It's done. Deep research. We're going to let this run and watch. It's going to come back. Okay. So what do I want? So number one, I want narrative. Number two, all family lines. Number three, I'm just going to say yes. And number four, I'm going to say yes. And if I wanted to, I could dump it into a sheet, but I'm fine. So we're going to let this run, and this is going to run several minutes. So we'll come back to that. Okay. But we're not done with ChatGPT, but I just want you to know about summarization. There it is. And so what it does is these models work better when you put it in context. Describe the book, name the book, say when it was published. Say that it's a genealogy book so that it's giving you information for a genealogist. All right. Here's an example. You would say, please summarize this local history book, rural New York, late 19th century. I'm looking for information related to Crawford family, their property holders. This is a pretty intense prompt, right? And it can go ahead and do that. And the results vary on the AI platform. I urge you, if you don't like the results on ChatGPT, go to Claude, the free version. Go to Copilot, go to Gemini. They all have different knowledge bases, all right? Also, you can also add style modifiers. You can say, I want it bullet point style. I want it narrative style. Great. Also, for iterative, the thing is, you're in a conversation with a chatbot, basically. If you maybe forgot to add modifiers or the resulting prompt text, the generative text is too vague, you could refine it. You could say, oh, I don't like that. Could you please do X? So you could add this after your first prompt. Please revise the summary, highlight any mention of the Crawford family, focus on name, dates, and property transactions between a certain time period. That was not in the original request. Okay. It really helps AI give you better and accurate output. Now, transcription, and let's check it on our chat GPT. Let's see that it's not gone haywire. Okay, it's working, and you can see it's busy working. All right, so we'll come back to that. But what we're going to do now is talk about transcription. I love transcription. You know, uh, just so you know, I had a detached retina in November. I'm still having recovery in the eye. I have really bad arthritis. So some days where I just don't want to transcribe something manually. All right. And this is what it's very good at. Okay. So these are the types of documents, newspaper articles and obituaries that are printed, vital records. It can transcribe those, even on forms, census records and in immigration forms, personal letters, handwritten stuff, diaries, and family correspondence. All right, let's take this one. This is a death notice for my second great uncle, Robert Austin. He drowned off of Long Island, New York, Labor Day weekend, 1924, trying to rescue a child. I was given this on a 3x5 card by my great grandmother in 1977. You see, it's faded on the side. And I want to do a transcription. So I'm going to come over here to ChatGPT. I'm going to upload my document. That's a key feature. I have it as a JPEG. And where are you? There you are. Okay. And I'm going to say transcribe exactly. Let me stop here. Always say exactly, because otherwise it'll assume a summary, especially in the free version. Part of getting lazy. This 1924 newspaper death notice. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we have. It will display the original. Okay, it will do that. And let's see, look at how fast this is. Look at how fast this is. Isn't that amazing? And like, again, I can copy this and just put it into my research. Now, do I have to have a source citation? I personally think you do, because I would never want someone to think that I transcribed this myself. that I'm passing this off. The other thing is the courts have ruled in the US so far that this is not generated by a human, so it can't be copyrighted. I will tell you, this is still going to be decided probably up to the Supreme Court level. Here's why. Did you know photographs could not be copyrighted in the US until 1881? Photography came about in the 1840s. It was seen as some dark art, some magic, a man with a cloak and this machine, but they didn't realize the camera person needed to know the settings. They needed to produce a glass negative. There was human interaction. And so this very well may change. But right now, I do it all the time. I copy and use it, but I do use a source citation. Okay. And that's great. Look at how that is. So we'll go back here. And we got that. How about this one? This is my mother's, well, not delayed, but certificate of baptism. Mom was born, her legal name is Jacqueline Barbara Austin, but this is her saint's name, being Catholic. Her parents were Alfred Austin and Anna Henneberg. She was born in 1941, but you notice down here, the certificate was generated in 1958. I never got to talk to Mom about this, but I think she needed this to prove age for her first job at age 17. Okay, notice it's a form. It's got a combination of handwriting, it's fill in the blank, it's got artwork. These can all complicate an AI transcription, but we're going to see how it does. So again, here's the drill. You probably get tired of this, but we have to upload the document first. JPEG is the preferred format. There it is. I'm going to say transcribe, and oops, I'm doing Swedish typing today. Transcribe exactly this certificate of baptism dated 1958. Okay, there we go. Uploaded, free version. And here we go. And you're going to see how quick this is. Ay, look at that. Look at the handwriting, folks. Now, it did get, this was hard to read, but that's probably right. And here it is. Again, I'm just floored. I'm still always floored by this. Okay. So that's one use. Here's another one. Did I tell you I had an ugly letter? This is ugly. This is an 1821 handwritten letter, an affidavit for Jacob Hoff's Revolutionary War pension application. All right. You notice there's even bleed through from the page, either above it or below it, what it was stuck to. So what we're going to do is we're going to craft our, now we really should put it in context. You know why? 1821 is important because the vocabulary is going to be different. I have to say that it's handwritten in English. And also for context, the terminology of the words will relate to the Revolutionary War and to a pension application. So we're going to go ahead. Come on, sucker. There we go. Upload this ugly letter. And I'm going to say transcribe exactly this handwritten 1821 letter in English, an affidavit in support of an American Rev War pension application for Jacob Hoff. I can actually leave that part out. Okay, here we go. We're going to see how long it takes. Ooh, yeah. And watch. Wow. Just wow. I'm still floored. Can you imagine this? Have you like sweated over doing transcriptions? Okay. There. And there it is. And I can actually copy and use this. I hope you're astounded like I am. One of my summer projects is I have hundreds of pages of my great-grandmother's handwritten diary on notebook paper from the early 50s in upstate New York. And I'm going to scan them and I'm going to do this. This is one of those projects. So I hope you're still with me. Let's go ahead and check on our, hey, it's still churning over here. Hopefully it'll be done by the time we're done. Remember, this is the intense summarization of that book. But we have more to cover here. Okay, great. So some things you should know. This is how you run the transcription. Remember, you have to upload your image. For large, like large piles of paper, I would do batches of 10 or 20, especially for handwriting. Remember, on the free version, it's going to get lazy. Okay. And so also there are some tools out there where you can review the transcribes side by side. But ChatGPT doesn't have that. You also want to put it in context. Remember, here's an example. This is what we wrote. Transcribe this handwritten letter. I should have said exactly. Dated 1821. Yeah, that's it. Okay. This is the reason why, folks, also, the vocabulary is very important. If you were transcribing and translating a French letter from 1820 in northern France, that French is going to be very different than Parisian French based on region and modern day Parisian French. Okay. When you're done with the transcription, you need to proof it. That is your responsibility. And go line by line if you can read the handwriting or read through and have it made sense. I had one. It was a form for, it was a Civil War pension application, 1-page affidavit. And it came back and it said that the applicant was worked with General Sherman going across Georgia and helped burn Atlanta. That was nowhere in the original. It just made stuff up. Okay, this is very rare that it happens, but it does. Also, time out. I want you to know about this project at Family Search. This link is on your handout. Did you know that Family Search, their original data, and they've got 30 billion sets of records, 30 billion pages of records. Originally, they were indexed by hand. I was a volunteer for many of them. We'd pull up the image and we'd have to type into a spreadsheet. That's how it was done. Now, Family Search is going back to those old databases and running AI through them. And they're picking out other fields like witnesses and things and locations. Okay. So this is the link. I am urging you, if you say, oh, I've already used that database at Family Search, please go back and do it again. I have to log in. I forgot about that. And here we go. And basically, Family Search Labs is where they're still trying to experiment. But let's look at the different collections. They started with 5. Now they're up to over 2,400 collections. I'm going to go to Texas. And here, wills and deeds. Okay. Texas biographies, births, deaths from 1900 to 1999. And they've applied AI. Here's marriages, 1838 to 1871. Okay, I'm going to do this for me. I have a famous relative. His name is John MacEntee. He was worked in the Civil War with Pinkerton, and he helped found the Secret Service after the war. So he's pretty well known, at least for Civil War buffs. 1822, I think he died in 1899. Okay, and I can use keywords as well. I'm going to go ahead and do a search. And look, see, I'm getting his name on things, and these may not have been indexed. Histories. Here's last will and testament, military history. Here's a will from Monroe County, New York, Westchester. Okay, so go ahead and take advantage of that. And so it's really important. So finally, translation. Translation's not easy, especially if you don't know the base language. All right, this is something that you often have to send out to an expert. Do let me tell you, though, that it's not a substitution for, it won't hold up in court if you use AI as a translator. But the thing is, it's unbelievable what we can do now. All right. So AI is being used. You are going to have to be very specific on context for your prompt. Okay. That's really, really important. I'll give you an example. Instead of saying German marriage record, if it was in Switzerland, they speak Swiss German, which might be different than German German, Austrian German. See what I'm saying? French Canadians speak different than French people. So it's really important to do that. But remember, old documents don't always play by the rules. There's obsolete terms, unusual spellings, unique handwriting styles, and different dialects. So the reliability is not as strong as summarization and transcription. We have a page here on a book. It's about the 300th anniversary of the Edict of Nantes. The Edict of Nantes is a document signed in 1585 in France to regulate separation of Catholics and Protestants. It was involved with the religious wars. It really lasted only 30 years. My French Huguenot ancestors were thrown out of France in 1675. So we're going to translate this book page. This should be relatively easy because it's printed. But again, I'm going to upload from computer, go to my book page, and I'm going to say transcribe exactly. Oh, and Thomas is not spelling right. Part of the problem is I'm dyslexic, so I'll transcribe exactly this page from a French book dated, I believe it's 1898, on the Edict of Nantes. Edict of Nantes. Then translate to English. Gosh, I'm hitting 1,000 today. There we go. Uploaded. Let's go ahead and see what we've got. There's the book page. Here it is. Look at that. Look at how fast that was. Now, sometimes we'll put it in this box, but here it is. I can copy this. Okay. And then it's going to give me the English equivalent down here. Okay. And yeah, there it is. And that's the English. That's great. It's perfect. Okay. Great. And if you want to continue on the next page, you know what? You're going to say, well, I don't have the next page. It has already identified the name of this book, and it has already found the book available for free at Internet Archive or Google Books. Isn't this amazing? This is how you can do a bibliography for a book when you only have one page. It still just blows my mind. So here we go. So here's another one. This is a German marriage record from 1881. It is a form that's filled out by hand. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload from computer. I'm going to pick my file down here. And what am I going to write? I'm going to say transcribe this German marriage record dated 1881. Transcribe exactly. Thomas, remember that. Modifiers are important. And then translate to English. All right, perfect. There it is. Quick translation and transcription. Look at that. Isn't that great? Okay. Unbelievable. There it is. It's also picked up on some of the locations, and I'll show you why. Do I want help locating church or civil records for these individuals or towns mentioned? And I can go ahead and say yes. So it's always going to try and prompt you to do more. I mean, it is literally at your service. And look at this. Modern day Poland, I wouldn't know that. Okay. And near Poznan. Yeah, Poznan. Key locations. Isn't this amazing? Unbelievable. I know I keep saying that, but you know, it's one of those things. It almost seems like it's magic. Great. So we did that. This is why it's important to put these in context, people. Time period and region matter. The document type matters. I mean, I'm only helping it by saying it's a marriage record. All right. Also, cultural and religious context. If I knew it was Catholic, I'm going to say Catholic or Protestant. Known family data, I could have said it's for the Weezoff family or the Antoviak family. Now, how do you improve accuracy on all of this? Well, the document image quality matters. If you have to run it through, some photo editors have autocorrect. The other thing I've been successful in is making a negative of it. Remember photostats from the 50s and 60s? Will basically convert the JPEG image into a photostat where the writing is in white. The document and image type matter. You don't want to do TIFF files. JPEG for images, PDF for documents. I've also done Word documents where I've had it rewrite something I've written. The document length, the number of images matter. You can overload it with 20 images. It will probably crap out and get lazy. You're better to break it into blocks. Print versus handwriting. So in priority, print is very easy. Handwriting forms where there's a combination, that's second. And then handwriting is the most difficult. And the platform, again, if you're not happy with the results on ChatGPT, go to Claude, go to Copilot, and Google. Google's amazing. I've been working on Yiddish, Hebrew, and Jewish documents in Cyrillic handwriting and Hebrew and Yiddish handwriting, and it does a better job than ChatGPT. Right. Okay, what about AI and copyright? So for the output, remember, it cannot be copyrighted. Even to this extent, I can upload a photo of me and I could say, oh, create a Pixar type cartoon character. It will create the image, but I can't copyright, even though my starting photo is copyrighted by me. Okay. This is why I think it's going to change in the courts. As for source or reference content, this bugs me. Remember I told you it scrapes the internet? Well, guess whose content it scraped? All 40 of my free cheat sheets on my website. Don't you think that every time ChatGPT uses that, I should get a royalty? It's my intellectual property. This is why there are major lawsuits by authors, comedians, newspapers against these AI platforms. There's a bill in front of the Senate that has languished for a year and a half that would mandate being more transparent. The other thing, when we come back here to ChatGPT, it's still working. But over here on this one, let me tell you, did you see any source references? Any citations? No, we don't know where this information came from. Okay, so that's really important there. What about source citations? Now, just so you know, the latest version of Evidence Explained, which is 4th edition revised by Elizabeth Shown Mills, came out in the fall, and she has dedicated pages 691 and 692 to how to cite artificial intelligence content. That being said, I use this formula from MLA, Modern Language Association of America. It's very similar to Evidence Explained. And let's walk through the formula. So what you do is you put in quotes. What was your query? What did you write down? Remember those phrases that we wrote down. Then you have to put the name of the AI platform, the date or version of the platform. This is very important. You know why? The paid version many times will do a better job, but not much for what we were doing. But the other thing is, remember I always said that these platforms are always learning. I urge you to rerun a prompt every 3 or 4 months because it will get new information and refine better information and be more exact. The name of the AI company. If I put Copilot right here, you wouldn't know it's Google. The date of the query, very, very important. And then the platform URL. So on this one, remember that book page for the 300th anniversary of the Edict of Nantes in America and France? This is the wording I would use. Well, early on, I just said translate to English, but I put my prompt in quotes. I was using a digital image of the book, page 3, when it was published. I used ChatGPT. I used version 3.5, which was the current version at that time. It's owned by OpenAI. I did this March 12, 2024, and there's a link. Great. So let's close with some tips and tricks. And I know you all are going to have questions. You can always put them in the chat for those Zoom people. In general, remember you want to provide clear and concise instructions. Remember to provide feedback. That's very interesting. Break it down into separate prompts. Sometimes I will say, translate this, German marriage record. And then once it's done, or transcribe, I'm sorry, transcribe first. Then when it's done, I'll follow up with, please translate into English. This is one that's critical. Don't go out to the Google and say, translate, 1850 Romanian letter. You are going to see a lot of fly-by-night platforms that are going to ask for money. But also think about this. They're not going to have anywhere near the knowledge base of the 4 platforms that I'm recommending. And that one we don't need to pay attention to. I need to take that out. Summarization. Remember, specify the format. What do you want? A narrative output? A bullet point output? Transcription. Break it down into smaller segments. It will transcribe audio on MP4. It will transcribe the audio portion of a MP4 video that you upload. Translation. You want to be very specific on your prompts. You want to review the translated text. Now, what if you don't speak the original language? Here's a trick that one of my followers showed me. So they're translating from French to English. They will then take the English text, start a new chat, and say translate to French. And then it'll do a comparison with both of those. But also you can read it through for context. And if it just looks too bizarre and too wild, then you know that it's not done a good job. Resources. There are a lot of resources in the handout. Everything I've covered today, you will be able to see on your handout. One thing I do want to point out is I have a new book out on Amazon. It's about this very topic. It's in Kindle and paperback format. And here it is. Let me go ahead and see. Actually, I've dropped the price on this. It's on sale, and it's done very well. And the other thing is, if you want, I have about 20 different books and 20 different cheat sheets out there. And I have a 400-page book on New York. And also, this is my bestseller right now. Have you ever struggled to find out the abbreviations used in genealogy or acronyms? So this book is a book of all those lists. It's one-stop shopping. You can look up 2,000 different abbreviations and acronyms, legal and land terminology for the US, Canada, UK, and the EU. City directory abbreviations, 2,000 different archaic medical terms and professions, cemetery iconography and symbols, the nicknames and first name abbreviations. Finally, this is one I have. It's a research checklist with 320 different record sets that you should look for an American ancestor. Okay. And then finally, the other one that I want to leave you with is how do you get more from Thomas? Go visit my site at genealogybargains.com. You will see a pop-up that you can sign up for my newsletter. I give away a lot of free cheat sheets. In fact, they're right here on the site. If you go to free cheat sheets, I've got 40 different cheat sheets that you can download in PDF, and they're free for you to use. There's no charge for that. All right. So I'm going to get off my soapbox here. We'll give one last check at ChatGPT. Oh, it's like Timex. It keeps on going. So I'm just going to do a refresh here. And I don't think it's going to do much more of an app. It's pulled all of these. Let's see what it's doing over here. I'm going to go over here. It's still working. But I can basically see what it's done. So, see? It's going step by step what it's done. And this has taken over a half hour now, but it will give you a much more detailed. So I'm going to stop my share. Tony and or Paul, what did you think of the presentation?
Exceptional. Thank you very much. We've learned a lot, and it's helped clear up a lot of the misunderstandings that I had for AI. So
Paul,
thank
what
you
about
very
the
much.
audience? Paul, Tony, what about the audience?
Well, so we've got microphones here in the room. And
Right.
the reaction from everybody is every time you've gone, that's just amazing. I've seen a lot of heads going, yeah, and it is truly amazing stuff.
Yeah.
As well, we've got microphones here, so we're going to start with the online people first. Paul, do you have any
Okay.
questions from online?
Sure.
We'll start with you.
Yeah, we do. We have a couple of 3 or 4. Faith has a question. It's about transcribing languages other than English. Is there really anything that it can't translate?
Yeah, the only thing I've found right now that it can do, and laughably, is shorthand. You remember Greg's shorthand and business shorthand from the 50s and 60s? Well, I have a contact at ChatGPT. She's an engineer there. And I asked her, why can't it do shorthand? I said, we have shorthand dictionaries. She said, because everyone had their own style of making the loops and the lines that they haven't been able to get there yet. But this can do cuneiform. This can do hieroglyphics. I mean, it's the Farsi, I mean, that I did for the 1901. It's better at some languages than others. Handwritten Yiddish and Hebrew is still not complete. But believe me, it can do almost any language and any dialect.
Perfect. Perfect. The next one is from Brenda. There's a document you want to transcribe that includes an image. So it's an actual Word doc or some document,
Right.
JPEG or PDF, and it has an image in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
What's the best tool to use for that?
Well, it would skip over the image. So what I would do, I would either use a screen capture or some platform that lets you save the image, save it as a JPEG, and do it as separate. And what you would do is you could upload the image and say, please give me a description of this image. And if you know the date, etc. Do you see what I'm saying? It handles images very well. But when it's embedded in a PDF, it's a little bit too much for it to do. So remember, we said some jobs need to be split into 2.
Perfect.
Question here in the auditorium.
Yeah.
Yes, this is concerning a JPEG document that's
Yeah.
1860 about German. And this is an immigration request to move from one place to the other. Anyway, so the person lists all their property in their application. And this particular document is going to the banks and to where he has money and to the wherever they're registered all his property. So you think of an empty page, and then up here in the corner, you've got German script that's verifying that,
Okay.
he owns this. And then somebody took that document, I guess the next person, and rotated it. And so they're writing what they're writing in another corner that,
Yes.
this is his property, and
Yeah,
it's
right.
paid up to date. And then
Yeah.
the third
So this,
person took it,
yeah, this
and
is
they
what's
wrote in the middle.
okay.
And so you've got
Right.
like 5 different small
this-
segments of handwriting that are oriented different from 1860s German. What would be the best format?
This is the best way to do it. I recently have written an article on my site called, it's about cross-writing. Cross-writing, you may not understand, was genealogy bargains. Come on, Thomas. Oh, I guess you're not giving it there. That's the reason why. Hold on. You can go ahead and look this article up. Cross-writing was popular in the mid-18th century because did you know that the people paying the postage were the recipients and paper was scarce? So this is what they did, is they did letters like this, where they would rotate the letter. It just drives me crazy. Now, right now, AI cannot decipher this. But for your part, this is what I would do. I would take each section and save it out as a JPEG. You see what I'm saying in terms of direction? Otherwise, you could do this. Not going to be as successful. Take the PDF, save it as a new PDF, rotate it, and then keep doing that for the different directions. I would rather that you go ahead and you sort of scrape out that image on a screen capture, whatever, and isolate just that one bit of text. Does that make sense?
She's nodding her head, yes.
Okay, good. Great question.
All right, modifiers.
Yes.
I have an 1880s bill of sale that the writer was very verbose, but if I say exactly, he has no punctuation or capitalization anywhere in the document. Would it just do what I ask?
Yeah, it will do, and it probably will substitute the punctuation. It's really good about that. Okay. So I would, the thing is, just go ahead and try it. You might want to try it without exactly. If you look at exactly, look at what the results are. And if you're not happy, you could do this. You could say, please add proper punctuation. And then it will go ahead and do that if it doesn't do it already. No, it's really amazing what it can do. So.
Paul, back to you online for a question.
You bet. There's a couple more. We had a question about the colors in the translations. What's that?
Yeah,
represent?
basically when we had the colors and we had ChatGPT here, yeah, the colors really don't mean anything. This is what it's doing here. When we did the first one. No, yeah, up here. These colors, what it is it's put it in this programming box. It's SQL. This is a SQL programming language. Why it dumped it in there, I don't know. But the thing is, the colors don't mean anything. They would mean if you were programming and using this, yeah. Okay, because if I go to edit, it's probably, yeah, it's going to go over here and other things like that. But it really doesn't matter. Those colors don't mean anything. Yeah, good question.
Perfect.
We got one here in the room.
I just wanted to ask you about using Grok. I used it the other day and it came up with a DNA family project, which was, I thought, only known to like 12 people, but it recognized the haplogroup. So have you experimented with Grok very much?
I have not. I don't think that their knowledge base is as big as ChatGPT, but I'm open-minded. I just haven't had the chance to use it yet. But yeah, this is an example that platform must have gone out and scraped the internet. There must have been some mention on the internet to that. Maybe someone has a project at Family Tree DNA or something that's not behind a privacy wall, or they've written a blog article or something about it. So you'd be amazed at what it can find out. This is why it's a great genealogy research assistant. I knew nothing about my second great grandfather, a German immigrant to New York City in 1881, and it gave me all these record sets on Family Search and Ancestry and My Heritage to start checking out. Now, one thing you won't find, folks, is you can't put in an ancestor's names and dates and find records. The reason is Ancestry, Find My Past, My Heritage, they'll have paywalls. So you're not going to find that for free. Family Search, while it's free, you have to log in. So you have to be behind their membership wall. But that's a great question. So,
Paul, back over to you.
We had a couple about hallucinations and
yes.
and also having to do with when you put it in your citation, should you put something about being proofed or not? Proofread.
You don't need to. No, that's all part of the process. Yeah, you don't need to. Now, what I do is one thing you'll see, let's go to Amazon and my books. I did something this is what I do. Anytime that I have a majority of content or I feel influenced by AI, take my New York book right here. What I did is I put a note, a disclosure, and it's right here. And let me enlarge this a little bit so you can see it. I said I want to be transparent that this book was created in part with the help of AI. It generated the first draft, but every chapter was subsequently reviewed, edited, and refined by me. Final content is a result of extensive human curation and creativity. I'm proud to present this. I was born in New York. I consider myself an expert in New York genealogy, but I've never seen someone put that in a source citation that they proofed it. I think it's basically assumed that you wouldn't be using it or publishing it if it wasn't that way. But good question. Yeah.
We had a couple more. Terry had a question about ChatGPT. Sometimes it doesn't recognize images when it's a part of the transcription.
Yes. And like I said before, like the one person asked, I would actually just try and do a screen cap, or if you can, it depends on if you have full Adobe Acrobat, if it's a PDF, I'll go ahead and save that separately. That's one of the multitasking that it doesn't do very well. One thing that it does do is, speaking of photos, I have these two photos. You ever have a situation where you think it's the same person over a time period? And I'll say, can you tell me if the women in these photos are the same person? Okay. And it can go through, and they're the photos. This is about 1900, 1910, about 1950. And it tells me everything. Okay. Age progression. It could be the same person. And so what I would do on this one is do deep research. Uh, and I can go ahead and you see how it gave me a prompt to do more, and I can go ahead and do that. So that's one of those things to work with. And hey, we're still going here on our extensive migration route. So, okay, other questions?
There is one here from Beth, working on a 222-page Chancery court case. What size chunks are optimal?
Well, I'm assuming, I don't know if it's handwritten or printed. I can go and assume that it's handwritten. I would definitely not do anything over 20 pages at a time to do that. That would be, and you'll see how it does on the first 20 pages to do that. But I've been told that Claude handles larger documents better. But on the flip side, Claude is the first one that will put you in the room with no soup because you've used too many resources and come back. So it's that situation. And the other thing is you may consider, if you've got a lot of work, folks, it's $20. It's worth $20 not to have to hire a translator or to transcribe by hand. And then just make sure you cancel the auto renew and then cycle on and cycle off. But I would definitely do 20-page chunks on that.
I think this next question is a computer support type question, but it's really a good one. After you click copy in ChatGPT, how do you actually get it into a Word doc?
Yeah, so this is what you would do. And I can go ahead and copy this. I'm going to open up Microsoft Word. I do blank document. Now, here it is. And I don't want Copilot. What did I tell you about Microsoft? Get off my back. So the thing is, you could do a Control V. Oh, it has all this formatting. My secret is do Control Shift V, and it brings it in just in plain text. And you'll have to do some cleanup, but you'll do cleanup anyway. So there it all is, right? That's it, easy peasy. Okay, and you take out what you want, and then save it, and you're on your way to saving it as a Word document. So good question.
And I think this next question was, they say they're on Amazon looking for the free information, but I think that's on your
No, yeah, the
personal
free
site.
information, you have to go to genealogybargains.com. Now, the only time I make my Amazon free is usually when I have a new cheat sheet. Like I'm working on a cheat sheet on Internet Archive for genealogy. That'll come out next week. It'll be free in Kindle version for 3 days. But here, you want to come here to Genealogy Bargains, go to free cheat sheets. And we can actually put this up into the chat. And let me go ahead here and everyone and free cheat sheets, and people can click on it or copy it. So there. Great. Other questions?
One more question to you for
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know the answer because of the comparison you did on photographs, but is the tool capable of dating a photograph, a single photograph?
Yes, it is. It is very well, because part of what it's using is not only what it's in its data, its knowledge base, it has access to Library of Congress photos, which are in the public domain, millions of photos. Those photos have already been categorized by date, by hairstyle type, by dress, by jewelry, and so that's what they take a look at to do that. So yeah, it is possible, and it does it very well. ChatGPT does it very well. Remember, and finally, before we close, remember I wanted that extensive summary. Look at it. It's got links to the original book, so it's got footnotes. Let me close this, and yeah, look at this, all from that 57-page book. And I get this, and let's see, this comes down. Holy merd. Yeah. And migration routes. Look at this. So imagine doing this on a 400-page PDF. I mean, this is deep research. Remember, this is the only way we got this expanded content is you have to click this first. So any other questions?
None here.
And nothing from the Zoom land.
Okay. Well, I really have enjoyed this. Unfortunately, folks, I'm retiring from webinar speaking the end of this year. It's difficult to teach 170 webinars a year on a live schedule. But I have this in the works, and Tony, you'd be interested. I've been asked by many genealogy societies to create a private subscription video channel with recordings. It would be all of my 40 plus webinars in the past, and I would add 3 or 4, maybe up to 6 a year that you could use for meetings, but also you'd be able to use it as part of building an educational channel for your society. So I hope you're interested. I'll make the announcement by July 1st this year.
And I want to thank Thomas too. He squeezed in an extra presentation. He's doing 2 today. So I hope
Yeah,
it
I
was
have.
so
A
I
glutton
really
for
appreciate you
punishment.
doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, not
You
a
can't
problem.
see, but we've got about 50 people here in the room that have all really appreciated this
Great.
very much.
Great. Thank you. All right. I'm going to take my leave and get ready for my next one. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
This has been a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. If you're already a member, thank you. Your fees have been supporting these and other society activities. If you're not yet a member, please consider joining now. Go to dallasgenealogy.org and click on the membership tab.